Hello, welcome to Avalonias Improvement. This is Avalonias speaking. Here we have a special guest. Her name is Eldaa, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her life and about how God has helped her to be where she is today. So, here we go. First of all, how do you like your career?
I love what I do. I really do. I think I have one little small regret, and it's not really a major one. I'd like to perform more.
Okay.
But other than that, I love teaching. I love to see my students shine. I love to see them tell me that they didn't even believe that they can get as far as they've gotten. I feel like a mother and that has a lot of children, and just watching them grow and doing these things that they never thought that they could do. It's just very rewarding, it really is. But I still feel like I have a lot to offer as a performer, so I get very anxious about doing that. And so I've told myself that in the summer I would do more performing. So this summer I plan on doing some more concerts.
Okay.
Just to kind of get that out of my system.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How was it growing up as a child?
It was different because I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. I just wasn't aware that I was missing out on a few things. But I'm a very creative kind of person, and a hands-on kind of person, and kind of a tomboy as well. And because of the music that was in my family growing up, because of the so many professionals in my family, I didn't realize that kids did other things, you know, play and go to the zoo and go and do all kinds of other cool stuff. I thought that most kids grew up learning music, especially since I grew up with a lot of musicians around me, other families that were musicians as well.
It was very normal.
So it was very normal, and there wasn't anything second that I could say, oh, I'm missing out on that, until I got older and into the maybe high school, and maybe before that, junior high, is when I started to realize that there was kids that did other things, like soccer teams and baseball and all that kind of stuff.
But you had to practice.
But I had to practice. I had to learn music. I had to learn piano, theory. I had to learn voice. I mean, it wasn't just voice lessons. It wasn't just piano lessons. I actually learned composition and theory a lot more than most kids that even learn piano and voice. So, which I didn't know then either. I thought that learning piano and voice was supposed to be all that. So again, my growing up was a little bit different than most because of the nature of the beast, if you want to say, because both of my grandparents were professors in a conservatory, so they just showed us everything, you know, as we were growing. They were teaching us all this stuff that I thought was normal for a piano student or a voice student. And now I realize that I had more intense courses. But where I thought that it might have been a little bit restricting, now I'm very much appreciative, because I never went to a university of music. But I don't consider that a flaw, because I actually grew up doing it. It's almost like if you grow up learning how to cook, and you're an excellent cook, you don't necessarily have to go to a gourmet school, and you grew up. And I think that that's a much better school than it is learning afterwards, because you have all this experience already. Whereas if you had grade 1 through 12 and then you went to a university and now you're studying this, you don't have all that past experience. So I feel like I'm always ahead of some people because of that. Not that there isn't great, you know, great people in the university, but I feel very qualified in what I do.
Well, how I feel is that school is and like school could be a very open term, is for people who are not disciplined, and so they go to school so it teaches them to be disciplined in the categories that they're trying to learn. Although I give anyone the props who can succeed in all the things that they're trying to do without having to go to a physical form to do it. Do your research, libraries, internet, talk to people, your own personal experiences. And if you think that I went to school for this, laugh please, because I have been doing this for a long time, and well, hey, I'm on TV now, so. How did you start? Did you always do music, or is this something new that you started doing in the past few years?
This is something new I started doing because of the way that I can, I speak 2 languages, perhaps. You grow up learning these things. So music to me was just a side thing that I was taught that I thought as beneficial to me for church, for weddings, for things like that. But I never considered it as a working, to make money to support my living. I never thought of it that way. And now I realize that I should have started to do this. It's in my blood, and it's something that I truly enjoy. I think I could have gone a lot farther if I had started earlier. But I don't regret being a paralegal. I don't regret the other jobs that I've done. I've learned a lot, and it showed me a wide variety of other things that I can do as well.
Awesome. And what was your first step into making music?
My first step was my husband coaxing me to do it. I didn't want to because I thought that he was just being a husband, just saying that he liked it. Perhaps he did love it a lot, but I saw it more as in he was infatuated with that idea. So I just used it for my peace of mind, like painting. It brings you peace and it helps you stay mentally alive, But I never really wanted to do it, and he kept insisting upon it until some friends of ours that we met in La Vida needed musicians, and my husband volunteered me. And I wasn't very happy with it, but because I didn't know them that well, I didn't want to start a fight with him, and so I decided to do it. And from that point on, I realized how much I missed it. When I performed, I hadn't remembered how alive I felt. Even though I didn't really make a lot of money, but at the time, which I wasn't expecting any money at all, it just felt awesome to be able to do that again, to play and to sing. It was just an experience that I thought, wow, I got to do this some more. But yet at that point, I was still just saying, this is just a hobby on the side. It was still not really, but it was the beginning of that seed.
That's beautiful.
So from there.
And how has this performance helped you to teach others?
I didn't even know that I was going to go into teaching until one day, about, I would say maybe 6 months to a year of just doing little performances here and there for the artists. They would ask me to do music in the background, and so I would lug my little portable piano with me, and that was just, it was really fun, So I would go around doing it, and this lady, she's a vocal coach. I did not know. I just thought she was there to buy jewelry or paint, some artwork. She asked me if I would sing at her church. And I said, oh, okay, cool. I didn't see it as weird because I already had been doing a little bit of that there in the churches around there. And I went, and she said, let's come to my house and you bring me some music and I'll play for you. We'll practice and do that. The first day I went there to practice with her, she offered me voice lessons. She said, you've been trained? And I said, yes, but it's been a long time. She goes, what if we do a trade? I think we had been talking earlier about some of the stuff that my husband did. And so she said, if you guys would do this, I will trade voice lessons. And so I jumped for it because, I mean, who doesn't want to better their voice? It had been over 20 years that I have done any kind of voice lessons.
Wow.
And so I needed sort of a refresher course. And I really liked this lady. We clicked. You know how sometimes you meet a person and you immediately click? Well, I immediately clicked with Jeanette Toll. And she immediately was starting to give me just lesson after lesson. And after about 6 months, well, no, that's not true because she's only there in the summer. She's from Texas, is when I found out later that she was in her vacation home, but we would still stay in contact. And the following year is when she kept insisting that I should start teaching. And I looked at her like, you must be crazy. I'm just getting back into singing. I don't even think I sing all that good, right? But she said, no, you can teach. I know you can. You're good enough. And again, I didn't pay attention to her. Mark, my husband, was insisting that I teach. I didn't pay attention to her for that summer. The following summer, Mark and I were coming on hard times. We needed to make some extra money. So I decided to take a student one-er here. In fact, she forced it. She went to the La Vida High School and talked to the music person there and offered I mean, people do this to my life. They never even ask me. They just go and just say, you're going to teach over there. Jeanette did the same thing. She went over to this lady and said, I know someone that can teach voice lessons over here. Next thing I know. So, you know, people, they you know, they insist on doing because they just know me. They know that I would be good at it. I don't have that much confidence in myself during that time. And that's how I started. One lesson, from there, I got 2, 3, 4. Now I've had up to 25 students when I'm at the university and private students together. You know, right in the summer, I have 15 students right now, and I tend to stay on this low end because I want to do some performing and I want to do big recitals. As you can tell, I'm still excited about my students, so much so that I feel like if anything really happened to my voice, that I would still be happy teaching. Though I don't want anything, I'm not trying to put anything on me because I really do love performing. But second best thing would be continue to teach until I cannot anymore, which, you know, I mean, who can't teach till you're 90?
Right.
You know, you can always teach.
When you're
doing
what you love, it's not like work.
No, it doesn't feel like work. I do get exhausted, but not because I want to stop. You know, it's just because that's how your body is.
Right.
You know, so.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And so I understand that as of now you work at the university here in Colorado.
Yeah.
As the music teacher and performer.
Yeah.
And you've also done some acting work as well.
Yes, that's another thing. If somebody would have asked me if I was going to be an actress, I would have laughed because I think I'm the lousiest actress ever. Because it's not second nature. Singing is like it's like the opposite of painting. You know, what would painting be with singing? It's a craft and it's an art, but painting techniques and singing techniques are so different, and that's the way I see acting at first. You know, I realize now how much acting is in singing and singing is in acting.
Right.
They both are much closer than you think. But at the time when someone asked me, I thought, that was another thing. I thought, oh gosh, you must be crazy. And I even cried my first acting job. I went back to the people. I mean, there was there's like 4 of them. They're directors. You know, they're the clothing people. They're the line person that reads out your lines, everything. I went back there and I said, I need to have a meeting with you guys. And I got there. I thought I was all brave and I was going to be professional. And I just started blurting out crying. And I said, I can't do this and I'm going to ruin your play. And they all looked at me like, but you're really good. And I'm going, I can't remember my lines. And so one of them actually took the time to give me private lessons. That's how much they wanted me.
Wow.
Yes, I mean, till today, I mean, it was like, I still remember him, and I count him as part of one of the reasons why I do this.
Yes.
Because he actually took the time to help me teach me how to learn my lines and to help me. He had so much more confidence in me. That's some of the things I do like about what I do. Some artists are very hard on people, but then you have these other artists that are the most loving kind of family that you have, and you'll never ever forget them. And he was one of them. I really appreciate how much confidence he had in me, and how much he went out to help me to be more confident in what I do. And after that, because of him, I feel like I can be, I'm a pretty good actress.
Okay.
So.
Now, with all your busy life you have going on for yourself, how do you spend time with your husband when, I'm sure there's times where it's late nights or early mornings and long days?
We sat down and we talked about it, and I told him, do you really want me to get into this? Because I can go full blown with this, but this is hard work. It's like any kind of entertainment. You have to put in a lot of hours in order to get somewhere, and it can be years before you can actually make a name for yourself, where you can start making some real money. And I'm not talking famous money, I'm talking just bill paying money, right? Because you have to do a lot of freebies, you have to do a lot of benefits just to get advertisement out there for yourself. And we worked it out where I would work for him for a while in construction and handyman until I was able to make enough money for the both of us. Right now we're at that point where he is my manager, and he actually does all of what I would usually have done, as a housewife. He's like the house man, if you want to, I don't know what you call a man housewife. That's what he does now. He takes care of all the appointments and all of that for me, and I bring in the money.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've changed it around, and we're at that point right now.
That's beautiful.
So yeah.
Question, do you believe in God?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would not be here where I'm at right now if it wasn't for God. Like I say about my husband not making me, but inspiring me to do it, God was actually in the midst of all this. I see that now, because most people that would take such a long sabbatical, even no matter if you have a gift or not, usually cannot bounce back the way I bounce back. In the first year that I came back into music full-fledged, I immediately was invited to do acting, was invited to do operas, and I hadn't even had training for over 20 years. And I asked God, I said, God, if this is what you want me to do, if this is what kind of ministry, you have to show me by showing me, by opening doors for me, because it's hard. I'm 50 something. Yes. And right now this should be where my career is starting to wean, if I had started at the appropriate time around 25, perhaps.
Right.
And so I said, in order for me to have a leg up, you have to be a part of this. Yes. Because there's young people that will take my job like that. Why? Because they're in the midst of it, and they have the energy. I'm already on the end part, and he opened doors after doors after doors for me. I'm telling you that I knew it was God, because I never even had to knock at one door. They always would call me. A friend of mine in Navajo, he said, will you sing at my church in Pueblo? And I said, oh, okay, but you have to sing a specific song. And I said, okay, well, I hope it's something I can do.
Right.
And so here I'm thinking I'm going to have a regular pianist, I mean, I'm not knocking pianists, but I just thought it was a regular church pianist, right? I get to this church. This church is like a cathedral in Pueblo. And the pianist that I have is a worldwide piano. He has CDs, he's on television. He is traveling the world right now as a pianist. Dr. Sahari, and the cellist that played for me as well, they both played together. She is a world-renowned cellist and teacher, and has her own studio in France and here. I mean, I'm sitting here going, I was scared. I thought, George put me in a position where he doesn't realize I'm not that good. right? This is what I thought. And I was at rehearsals and I was scared stiff. But, you know, I taught myself a controlled scared. So no one really notices when I'm scared. The fear is inside me. So I'm sitting here doing this song, and I finished the song one rehearsal, and the lady gets up and looks at Dr. Sahari and says, would you like to be a teacher? Oh no, she said, are you a teacher, voice teacher? And I said, yes. We have an opening at the Colorado State University. Would you like to be a teacher there? I said no. My husband was sitting in the pews and said, yes, she will. Again, I say no, you know, and my husband says yes. And she looked at me, she goes, don't say no right away. Don't say no right away. And I said, well, I don't really think I can do this. I don't qualify for it. She goes, you qualify. And I said, okay. And I didn't, you know, I just left it alone because it was like one of those things, you know, people say things,
right,
but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. That same week, I got a call from Dr. Volk, the director of the music department in Colorado State University. And he gave me an interview, and I came in and I was hired.
Praise God.
That's absolutely right. God, when you ask God, God will answer. And he will answer you in big ways. I also believe in the seventh day. And I told my boss, I said, just before you hire me, don't go hiring me. You don't know yet. I don't work Sabbath. And I mean Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And he goes, oh, that's fine. And I just looked at it.
What a big deal in the civilian world.
Yes, and especially music entertainment. You know, when do the entertainment is the biggest? Fridays and Saturdays. He even wrote an opera and made me the leading person in his opera. And he found we used a student on Friday night and made it Saturday night late enough so that I can do it. So I did it Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, one weekend, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday the next weekend. And the student did it 2 Fridays in a row.
Wow.
And it got into the paper. And I got a reading about how something, to paraphrasing, I have it at home. I didn't bring it because I didn't know you was going to ask me about it. But it said something about how this person is going to, you know, if this was her premiere, she's going to go a long ways or something like that. I was very proud. I mean,
right.
I didn't really know I was an actress. That was when somebody else had noticed that I could act, and they called me to do that one that I cried at.
Oh, wow.
Where I was crying because I didn't think I could be an actress.
Yes.
And they called me for that. I didn't what do they call that when you go audition? I didn't audition for that part either. Then the following year, Dr. Volk wrote another play, and I also got another big part in that one, King Arthur. And that one was really well done as well. I mean, he does some excellent music. I've done several small pieces for him as well at the university. I've done a couple of other acting positions as well, and I had to turn down one just recently that they already picked me for. I, again, didn't audition for them. I have not auditioned for any of the parts that I've been called to do. But I refuse to work on the Sabbath. And if they cannot find me a person to take that place, which when I asked the lady, she goes, there's no one like you. And I mean, I'm not trying to toot my horn. That's what she said. She goes, and I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't perform on the Sabbath. And so she just kind of gave me that look. And I thought, you know, don't get mad at me.
Yeah.
You know, this is not my rule.
So, how do you spread God's word through your music and acting?
How do I do it? Everything I talk to them about, I tell them how my experience is. I give them a testimony of how I got there and how quickly I got there. I tell them to go on YouTube and go and look at the documentaries or the biographies on some of these other actors or musicians, and how long and how hard it took them and how many doors they had to knock to get in there, and they don't believe in God. And then I show them how I did it, and I believe in God.
Praise God.
So I do make comparisons. I show them that the techniques that I learned, I prayed one day and I said, Lord, you asked me to do this. You know, I haven't gone to school to learn all the up and new things coming along. So I need you to show me something so that I can be compatible and compete with the other teachers that are always going and refreshing their course and learning the updated thing. Immediately, he's told me to go on YouTube, and the first thing that came up was the water technique from, I can't pronounce his name right now, but he's from Finland, and he's been doing this for over 30 years, and it's the water and straw technique. And you know that in the last couple of years, it's been coming here, but I'm the one that started it at the university. And my students improve within the first 3 months, immediately. I have all of my students have their own stories behind it. I always post them on my professional page on Facebook, and they will thank the bottle and water technique that I got, that the Holy Spirit directed me to improve their voice.
Beautiful.
So yes.
Is there anything that you would like to tell our viewers? Some kind of inspiration?
Yes. If you feel that you were born with a gift, whether it's singing or playing or engineering, whatever is in your heart that you feel that you need to do, if you know that that's from God, you need to believe in yourself, ask God to guide you, and He will open all kinds of doors for you. But you must obey. I find that as sometimes people think that that's a negative, but you know, it's not. It's a very easy thing. My life, I live a very happy life. I do quite a few things. And it's not a negative. It's actually a refreshing when you know that you don't have to worry about your bills, you don't have to worry about things that happen, about people being negative or not liking your technique, because you leave it up to God. And that's such a way to be able to let go of things, knowing that God has your back. You know, sometimes you can't even depend on your own husband, because why? Not because I don't love him and he doesn't love me, but we're human. We're human, and only God knows exactly what's in my heart. And when you are able to unload and know that He has your back, things are so much easier for you, and you're able to live a better life that way. So go for it. If you want to be a doctor, go for it. Go for it. Ask God to give you the ability and show you the road that you have to go. Pray. Ask. It's real. Show Him, tell Him to show you in the matter that you need to know for proof.
Amen.
That's what my advice is. It worked for me, and I didn't have to go very far. Yes, I grew up Christian, but I left because I thought that He really didn't exist. And God kept insisting and kept insisting and kept opening, showing me things, till one day I realized that He was real. He actually speaks to me in very real ways, and I know that He will for you as well.
And He never gives up.
And He never gives up.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here at Avalonias Improvement, I'm trying to get a resort built, or find a place, I should say, where I can have all of my lovely friends come and join and have relaxing time. And I'm trying to get different kind of therapy happening, because as you all know, my sessions are very unique compared to everyone else in the world. Please do not compare me to someone else, because you will not find someone like me. Right now, I'm trying to get a few different counselors, nature therapy, art therapy, cooking therapy, and such on and such on. But so far, if you like the speech that she's been giving, she is going to be the music counselor for sessions, like different therapy sessions, and I have a whole list, but she's gonna help me out. And music's very relaxing. It's very unique, and it brings your mind to a focus. So welcome aboard to Avalonias Improvement. And hopefully we'll see more of you who join in on the sessions. First session is always free, so that way you can see if you like how everything is being built And if you don't, well, you don't have to come back to the session, but I know you will. So with that being said, remember, God works in mysterious ways, as we had last week with Pineapple, with her being deaf and having her trials and tribulations and finding a way to trust in the Lord to help her through her disability has made her normal again. So keep that in mind. Remember to always keep your head up, and no matter what you're doing in life, no matter where you're at, who you are, where you are, or who you want to be, remember, stay strong and hit me up. You know, I'm really good at just talking and hanging out. So you guys have a great day at Avalonias Improvement. This is Avalonias speaking, over and out.